Ladies, if you don't have to spend money, don't. I'm such a dork. I'm a theater nerd. Okay. What episode number is this?
37.
Is it?
Yeah, 37.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go.
How fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the House of Royale. This is episode number 37. And to celebrate 37 with us, I want you guys to go onto the Patreon page and give us $10,000, and I will give Jasper 5. Okay? That's all I'm asking. It's not a lot of money. It would probably pay for like one of his supper club dinners, honestly. We're artists out here entertaining you guys. Give us all your money. We love you so much. And I will see you in a minute.
Please give Rochelle the money.
Yeah. Today I have a super hottie who is single, right?
True, yes.
Okay, so we're taking applications first of all. Ladies, if you're into chefs, like he is one of the hottest #1 up and coming chefs in Los Angeles. He's so amazing. I went to one of his private dinners and it like blew my socks off. I even broke up with my boyfriend because I was like, damn, this is so good. I might have to see what's up with Jasper. Anyway, he's not only a chef, you guys. He is a creative director. He is putting events together. He is a boss. He has employees. He's such a great person. Everyone loves him. You guys are going to want to work for him. I swear to God. Please give it up for the amazing Jasper Lynn.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That was probably the biggest hype I've ever gotten, so I appreciate that, Rochelle. Thank you.
Well, I love to hype up my homies. I mean, we're homies now.
Yes.
We're family now.
Yes, we are.
I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm like that. Like I just like connect with good people, and I can tell you're good people. And your crew too. Like everyone that I met the night that I met you guys, it was like, it really had such a family vibe.
Oh yeah, it was so much fun that night, and you guys brought the energy and the vibe. I didn't know you were from the Bay. I actually used to go up there all the time.
Nice.
So.
Why?
My old job when I used to work in tech. We would fly right into over in Oakland, and then take a bus over or train or whatever, and right be in FIDI. So
yeah, you guys. I'm from Mountain View, which is like definitely the mecca of the computer chip. It like Palo Alto, Los Altos. Sunnyvale and Mountain View. My mom had 3 dance studios though in Mountain View.
Oh, no shit.
So yeah. I grew up dancing but also like not a lot of people know this, but we had an all-boy b-boy crew, which was like the beginning of my education with hip hop and rap.
Shit.
Yeah.
So that's why you were vibing to the music so much that we were playing at Rosalynn, because that's all we do is R&B, hip hop vibes. A lot of Bay Area rap too. So.
Yes, absolutely. I have to have rap in my life. I love hip hop and rap. The vibe that you guys brought definitely had a bit of a Bay Area mood.
Yeah. Well, I got to give a shout out to my beverage director and our DJ, David Pham. So he was there that night too.
Yeah.
And basically he's from the Bay. He's from Sacramento.
There you go.
And so all the inspo from our music comes from him. He kind of curates all the vibes.
So cool.
Shout out David.
And oh my God, I didn't realize you guys were like, oh, what's your Spotify? And instead of just going to my Spotify, I was like, boop. And like my song started playing. You guys let it rock and roll and announced me to the whole table. And I was just like, this is so wild. Like, it was such an amazing moment. So thank you for doing that.
Of course. It was such a vibe. Like, for you guys who haven't been to the Supper Club, right? It's a private dining experience. And so we have music playing. We've got this wonderful Sonos setups going there. But then you were showing me some of your music, and I don't think I told you that if you tap the song, it'll switch everything. But then we just blasted on full blast. I think it hit like 90, 100% on Spotify.
Oh my God.
But we knocked it out, and everyone was vibing to it.
Amazing.
Thank you for sharing your craft. It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That song, I mean, I know it's not the Grammys anymore. We're rolling into the Oscars now.
Right.
But that song was submitted to be voted on for a Grammy, which is kind of wild.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Maybe someday I will win an Oscar for best soundtrack or best song in a movie. And maybe someday you will be catering the Oscars.
I mean, that would be a dream come true. I was just reading about everything that Wolfgang was doing and the 1,500 people that went through for the Oscars Governor Ball. So, I mean, that'd be a dream come true.
Yeah. Shout out to Wolfgang Puck. And also your protege from the UK, right?
Yeah. Wolfgang has a protege, Elliot Grover, I think, from the UK.
Yeah.
And he's apparently a Hex lad, but friends with Chris Baber and other people that we know from the team there. So shout out to the UK bros. But
yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Shout out to the UK honeys.
Yeah.
Hello, Elliot. Let me know when you're in LA. And also, Elliot and Wolfgang, please. I'm putting it into the universe right now. I would love for you guys to do a collab with Jasper. That would be amazing.
Let's manifest this. I think combining the food and seeing what Wolfgang's been able to do over the last 30 years apparently, and I believe Elliot's now done 2 years over with Wolfgang. I think it's just so cool to see the rise of kind of the next in line for what Wolfgang's bringing to the Oscars. So,
you know what I want to do, Wolf, not to piss you off, but like I do want to know Jasper's opinion. Okay. So the menu for the Oscars, how would you put your own flavor and spin on the menu?
Yeah. I was reading about it and I wish I could have attended this year, but I think one of the things that I really enjoy is the variety that Wolfgang seems to provide. You know, you've got a lot of like seafood, meats, vegan options apparently. And
thank God.
I know you and I've talked about this. We'll dive into that, but I'm very much so about implementing Asian flavors into my food. And I grew up Cantonese, love spicy food. So one of the things I'd love to see is a little more of that chili oil base. I saw that, his flagships are a lot of truffle on things. So truffle chicken pot pie, truffle mac and cheese. Don't get me wrong, I love truffle. But imagine if you had like a duck confit pie, right? A little bit of our like cilantro chimichurri that we do. Put that on top of some mac and cheese and some lobster. That's the decadence that I like personally, instead of just caviar.
Wait, pause. ladies. Are we just like having a moment right now? Oh my God. It's just so hot to hear a man talk about food like this. Okay, continue. I digress.
I mean, if we can go to the nitty gritty, we could talk about how it just like, you can shred the duck and it just falls apart right in your hands and the oil just drips all over. But
oh my God, this is like softcore porn, I swear to God. Can you explain the word flagship, first of all?
Yeah, flagship is like your top tier, creme de la creme, the thing that showcases everything that you do. So having a flagship dish, I think, would be a great way to start something. So I'm just manifesting for next year, right?
Yes.
Even if we had one Rosalynn dish over at the Governor's Ball, I'd love to start out with something with caviar.
Ooh.
I've been on the record as a caviar guy. I love caviar.
Ooh.
And so imagine like a cream puff filled with some sort of like whipped uni, a little bit of lemongrass, some butter and cream in there, right? The puff though, I want to glaze it so there's a little sweetness. So we would brulee the cream puff.
Yes.
And then you would finish it with a huge dollop of caviar on.
Oh my God. Shout out to my homegirl, Jordan Page, who is obsessed with caviar. I think she just joined a caviar club.
Yeah.
It's so wild. Like, how many girls out there are obsessing over caviar right now? Like, I feel like it's making a huge comeback.
I was gonna say, I'm not a girl, but I am. I'm totally caviar all day, any
day. Why is it coming back like with a vengeance? Have you noticed?
I have definitely noticed, and seeing a lot of brands bringing out caviar as well. I think there's number one, there's more availability now. China's been a huge importer now instead of just Russia. And you're also seeing sustainable caviar, which I love. Actually, up in the Bay Area, Sar Nikolai is doing sustainable caviar up in Concord. So I love seeing that. Love seeing brands just kind of showcasing nicer caviar.
Yeah. Now, is it all natural? Or are we genetically engineering caviar now?
I mean, I wouldn't want to eat any genetically. I mean, it's little eggs. I have seen vegan caviar.
Okay.
It's made out of like kombu and seaweed and stuff. Not the biggest fan because it just tastes like popping boba that's salty.
Right.
But I have seen real like nicer or well, I've seen caviar that's more sustainable.
Okay.
And I've seen it where they're harvesting them a lot later so the sturgeon actually get to live a full life before they do. And I prefer that. I think that's the way to do it.
Yes. Let them live. Let them live. I just say that because, and not to like be a negative Nancy, but like, I think for all the vegans out there, we need to bring this up. The water, the radiation, the mercury levels, right? Like, cause I'm basically pescatarian. I try to pretend that I'm a vegan, but I'm not. Like, I'm pescatarian. I fantasize about eating chicken and steak all the time, but then I literally will go on the internet and like read an article about like why chicken and steak is so dangerous in the US just because of like antibiotics and all the shit that we're putting into the animals. How do you feel about that? And how, like, if I do want to eat chicken, what is your advice? Where do I find the healthiest, safest chicken and steak?
A lot of people actually ask me that question, and it's just because I come in as a foodie. Before I started cooking, I would go out, I would search for food, and what I've realized is the supply chain in America is a mess. Unless you are sourcing directly from very boutique purveyors, you're not going to get the quality. You're going to get items that are just mass produced. They're, like you said, injected with hormones and antibiotics. And I'm not about that. So everything that we do at Rosalynn, everything that my team touches is specifically curated directly either with the farmers, the fishermen, any of the purveyors.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're looking for chicken, bare minimum is going to be your Jidori chicken.
Okay.
It's these chickens are actually free roaming. They're much healthier. Technically, you can eat it raw. That's how good it is. There's none of that injection of antibiotics.
Yeah.
But I would say it's kind of hard to find great chicken in America. That's the sad part, right? Because you can go to Japan and you can get really high quality chicken because they're free roaming. That's why I would recommend Jidori.
Okay, because I'm trying to build my ass. I am a white girl. I have a little ass. I want it to be ginormous, right? And like, doing a plant-based diet, it's really hard to build muscle.
Right.
So like, if I'm like, can I go to Whole Foods?
Whole Foods can work. I'm actually a big proponent of Whole Foods. I think that because of their distribution, they're able to get higher quality product. Yeah. And they're very good about labeling what has, PBST or any of those types of injections of hormones or antibiotics in their stuff. Yeah. They actually will list out in their grocery section, like step 1, step 2. If you're looking to be really healthy, look for a step 2, step 3 at Whole Foods. Yeah. That's your way of distinguishing how, if it's grass fed or if it's been injected with something. Okay. Yeah. But honestly, chicken's great for you, but I'd go for the steak route actually. Really? Why is steak better? I know everyone gives like red meat a bad rap, but again, it comes back to sourcing. For example, we work with 3 or 4 different purveyors across Australia specifically to get Australian Wagyu. Biggest one is Ligma Provisions. They have incredible steak. And what we do, instead of getting your US prime that it's just going to be like in a shed somewhere, these cows are just struggling, they're not really moving around. Australian Wagyu is that wonderful cut that comes from Japan. They've been hybridized with the Australian cow, and you get Australian Wagyu that's super fatty. You can eat the entire steak. So I'm sure you've had like A5 Wagyu before back in the day, right? Of course, absolutely. But like, that's another concern. And I'm just going to like give you the hard questions because I truly want to know, like, just cholesterol and like, we have these documentaries where they're like, you guys, sugar is not causing diabetes. It's actually the meat that's causing diabetes. Like, it's clogging our arteries. Like, so the fattier it is, the more delicious it is, obviously. But like, what about our gut health and all of the things that we need to be concerned about, especially as we get older? Absolutely. I'm a huge proponent of a balanced diet, right? Okay. But when you're trying to make gains, right? Like, I have a lot of friends that we do meal prep for, and one of the biggest things is they need some sort of meat base. But in that meal prep, though, we actually do combinations of things. For example, one of the dishes that we're doing right now is that Australian Wagyu. Okay. We do the picanha cut, so it's nicely marbled. Very, not super fatty like A5 where you can only eat like a small block or two. You're able to eat like an 8-ounce portion and feel good about it still. Okay. Then we pair it with, say, for example, something that's seasonal. So purple cabbage is in season. We'll char it, roast it, little extra virgin olive oil, the highest quality from Graza. Like, we'll put it there with some shallots, onions, maybe a little bit of like a herb salad. So Thai basil, cilantro, everything that's like from the farmer's market from Santa Monica. So we do then find that balance, and you're able to get something that is high in protein. And just because it has fat doesn't mean that it's going to get you with the bad cholesterol, because there's different types of cholesterol that you're getting as well. Okay, so ladies and men, but like mostly the ladies, if you guys are looking for a meal prep, this is so amazing. Just hit up Jasper and he'll do it for you. You've got to. That would be amazing. Yeah. So like maybe just 2 times a week or 3 times a week we're doing the steak. You're not doing it every day. No, absolutely not. I don't think the carnivore diet's the way to go. I've seen people do it. It doesn't seem to work as well as it's advertised. I would recommend balancing it between fish and meat. And that's how you're going to get your gains for sure. Cool. Okay, let's talk about Rosalynn. I went. Yes. It was so cool. It was so delicious. Can we talk about how that all came about? Like, how did you come up with the idea?
and your friends are so talented and cool. You guys just have such a great synergy, like the way that you move throughout the night and make people feel so welcome and loved. Like, how did this all happen?
Wow. Thanks for that, Rochelle. I appreciate that. Rosalynn is a supper club. And so for people who don't know what a supper club is, it's literally private dining in the chef's home. And we've had this blessing that during COVID, things kind of just shifted around. I was still working in tech at the time as a product manager, doing marketing as well.
Right.
And I happened to quarantine with a bunch of chefs and fell in love with the creative process behind it. And I've always been this guy who worked in sales or management, but never got to actually be creative.
Wow.
So this was my first opportunity to be able to share something that I've created with other people.
Yeah.
So walking into the pandemic, this was August 2020, decided to do this more seriously. I had a friend of mine come up to me, and she was from New York, and she's like, hey, do you know what you're doing as a supper club? But yeah, so what ended up happening was it was this love of food. I've always loved going out to eat food and exploring my favorite restaurants in LA and meeting these chefs. That's how they kind of got quarantined with me. They hit me up saying like, hey, let's hang out. And so I learned my basics, everything from not knowing how to use a knife properly and almost cutting myself in the beginning to understanding mise en place, which is your setup, to then going into each protein, understanding how proteins pair with vegetables and how the ingredients kind of make things shine, or you can pull away with fat, salt, acid, etc. Just fell in love with all of it. So fast forward August 2021, quit my job, decided to take that on full time, and been doing it ever since. So all of what I do with Rosalynn and with my team as well is curate an experience for you. So what you got to see is now year 3 of what we've been doing, which is everything from the music, the lighting, the moods, the plants everywhere, being able to even supply you vegan food.
Yes.
When we weren't even prepared for it.
I know. Oh my God. My date was just awful. So that was his fault. Because aren't you supposed to enter what the guest wants to eat before you? Okay, cool. So the reason why I say wow is because I interview so many artists, and what artists are usually missing is the business aspect, the linear way of thinking when it comes to business. Whereas like you had that foundation already, which is so beautiful, because with the marketing and the tech side and all of that, it's so much easier to organize the business side of it all. For someone like me who is I'm a singer, I just want to wear costumes and skip around in sequins all day long. That's basically what I would love to do, but we can't. We have to learn business. So what advice would you give to all of the artists out here that, frankly, most of them are struggling with, you know, maximizing on capital and like just becoming a business person in general? What would you say to them?
I completely understand that struggle. You know, even though I've worked in corporations, I've worked in different businesses, small and large. I don't think that anything prepared me for being a creative. I absolutely love it though, in the sense of, you know, I guess the best advice I can tell you is something I learned from one of my mentors. There's a rule called the umbrella rule. You basically have to find out what you love and what you're really good at. And then you have to define everything else. So what you love but are not very good at, what you are not good at, but you hate, and what you're not good at, but you love. So you basically structure all of these on a piece of paper and say, like, for example, Rochelle, what is something that you absolutely love that you're really good at?
I love interviewing my friends.
Amazing. So you double down on that. Then you have to look at something, for example, like, let's just say you're really good at, but you don't like doing.
Admin in general.
Got it. And what's something that you really don't like doing at all?
Dealing with most men.
So the umbrella rule basically tells you, focus on the thing that you love and that you're really good at. Everything else, you need to start finding other people to take over those roles, including admin, right? And so what I've found with working with a lot of chefs, or even with musicians, because we curate the vibes at Rosalynn, is someone needs to be responsible for admin work. Unfortunately for me, that's my role right now. It isn't something that I absolutely love doing. I'm good at it, but I don't love doing it. So the goal for me in the next year or so, especially when we open our restaurant pop-up and then our restaurant, is I need to focus on what makes me happy, which is loving the creation of food, being able to be the host of the supper club and whatever else we're doing. But I don't like admin. So I need to find someone who's really good as a head of ops, for example. And so then you start listing goals on how do I get there? It's not just finding capital, it's finding the right people as well.
Amen. I mean, that's my biggest concern is like finding people that like day one, like stepping foot into show business in general, like as a female pop singer, it's just trauma. Like that's all it is. It's just a bunch of men, a bunch of dicks in your face. And then all you're trying to do is record songs and do shows. But like it just, all of that gets lost in the sauce because you're dealing with people that want to take advantage of you or whatever. So it's like every time I interview a female singer, it's like, do you have a manager? Well, yeah, I did, but like they did this, this, and this to me, you know? And it's like, and I always do a manifestation with them about finding a female manager. So for me personally, I would prefer to find women that get along with other women.
Understandable, yes.
Where, you know, it's just, yeah, it's all about energy. And it's like, hey, are you interested in making this thing go big? Like, does this interest you, you know? And so finding like-minded people that don't want to murder each other, for sure.
I think that's so important though,
Yeah.
right? Everything that we do is all about people, right? And I can understand where you're coming from because, you know, I have two little sisters. I understand like their struggle too. You know, one of them studied animation and trying to basically break the barriers as a female in animation is very difficult, right? But at the same time, I will say there are very good people out there. I understand that there are definitely some people that I've met, even in the chef industry, that have been naysayers. They talk down just because that's what they do. They gatekeep because that's their only value. And they fear that anyone else that here is to change that grain or take that leap of faith against them is an attack on them. I think that just shows their insecurity.
Yeah.
So with your situation, I'm sorry to hear, like I've heard that story time and time again from my friends, even my sisters. And I'm just like, that's not okay. And so what we love to do and foster at Rosalynn is we have actually a very balanced team. We're actually 50-50 guys and girls.
Nice.
And it's always interesting to see because guys in the kitchen is very different from the kind of like the typical expectation, right? So you have people who are very caring, very much act of service, and we always empower our team. So like shout out to our like female chefs and female team members like Chef Denise, Loretta, Victoria. You guys are fucking amazing. Yes.
Amen. Okay, that's so crazy. So like, no way men and women are different. Like, so like as a chef, that's so wild to me because like, I obviously only have experience working with singers, actors, comedians. And yeah, men are way different. Like women, we are dealing with hormones and that time of the month. And, you know, but we're also such like loving, like we care so much. Whereas like men are like, okay, here, like squirrel, tree, branch, like, you know, like here's the tasks at hand. Oh my God, you literally had a squirrel on your on your story.
I did. Well, I actually, I foster some squirrels outside of my place because we have a garden outside that we grow all of our herbs and stuff for Rosalynn as well. But I know, I mean, can state the obvious, right? Guys and girls are very, very different.
Yeah.
But I will say that there are many dimes and many empathetic men out there that exist. And I see the way that, at least in the service industry, I can speak more about, that they support one another. You know, we'll pick each other off literally off the floor after a 14-hour shift. And it doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl. The respect is there regardless.
Yes, I love that. What is your advice to people that are attending these events? Have you ever seen rude behavior?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, how do you guys deal with that?
There are two ways. You know, you obviously have some people because we are one of the only supper clubs in America that have a craft cocktail program, and we do that because we just love drinking. I mean, unfortunately.
Okay, shout out to all my sober people out there, but like I do not mind if my date is getting wasted. It's fine. Like just do it. I totally have mad respect for mixologists and all of that. I think it's super cool. And I actually had a really amazing mocktail that night. So
yeah, that stuff is so important to us too, is having that availability as well.
Yeah.
But best advice when you come to a supper club, well, you asked me two questions though, right? One of those best advice to go to a supper club, and the other one is the worst experiences ever, right?
Yeah.
Let's go through the negative first. Worst experience at a supper club ever was we hosted a private party one time, and we had a group of people that came in, and it was a private party, full house, 20 people. They were not actually interested in the food. I think they were just there to get fucked up.
Wow.
So by the second course, we had probably 8 out of the 12 people with their heads down on the dining table, like just resting it down like this.
Whoa.
And the insult to injury after was the other half just went to go smoke outside, and one of the girls projectile vomited all over the food across the table.
Was this like or like who?
No. It was not. You know, we're an invitation-only supper club. We had people come in by random, and these are, you know, friends of friends of friends of friends. And, you know, usually with that type of vouching, you go, all right, at least you understand, like, hey, Rosalynn is a fine dining establishment. We're here to enjoy the food. Yes, have a great time. Like, again, I'm in the same way, right? If my SO or my partner wants to get lit, go ahead and get lit.
Yeah.
Just do it in a respectful way.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. But I caught myself for the first time being really sarcastic during an event, like going like, you know, for those of you guys who were actually here for the food, you know, which was no one.
God.
And so they all ended up leaving very early, and, you know, there was throw up everywhere, like on the table, on the sofa.
God.
It was a mess to clean up. And that's when we changed the policy where it's like, hey, you're responsible if you do that.
You guys stop doing cocaine at Rosalynn.
There are a lot of mirrors in the bathroom. That's probably why.
Oh my God. Second question. That's wild. Like, you guys, please be nice to service people. Like, be overly aware of yourself. Be self-aware, be kind, and it is about the food. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
What was the second question?
For fuck's sake. The second question you asked me, let's see, it was, what to expect, or what are you going to do when you go into a supper club?
Oh,
basically?
yeah.
How do you
Okay.
get into one?
Yeah.
So every supper club is very different. You know, I've had the blessing of being able to go to several now, more than 3 or 4 dozen at this point. Every supper club is different because you're very much seeing the personality and the experience that the chef makes. I've gone to ones where literally the chef doesn't talk to you. It's just like, hey, here's your dish. And the menu's printed out, because they're more introverted. They literally just want to showcase something beautiful. And some of the best food I've ever had is from those people. But then you see the other side, and I'd say I'm more on the personality side at this point, where I've learned to be extroverted. Like, I'm a natural introvert that has turned into extrovert because of this.
Yeah.
And so my job is to be somewhat of a showman, to welcome you to the experience, to tell you why we source what we source. Because it is important that we get oysters from Washington right now, because there's a norovirus happening down in Mexico. The water temperatures are higher than they should be, right? So I'm going to tell you why we're sourcing cushies over kumiais right now.
Yeah.
For example, the difference between Australian Wagyu and the different types of cuts. That stuff matters because what they eat goes into them, which goes into you.
Yeah.
Right? And then we also work with very seasonal stuff. So to get into a supper club, depends. For us at Rosalynn, it's all about invitation, but you know, you guys know Rochelle, that's fine. Just send her a DM, we'll cut you guys in. But it's a lot of fun. Like, it's more about walk in with the expectation, knowing that you're there for the food. But for us, especially, is you're going to walk out with some new friends.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're all vibing over the same commonality of.
Yeah. I know exactly who I would refer, you know, like people that are wine connoisseurs, people who are true foodies. Like, I'm not going to invite, you know, a bunch of like alcoholic drug addicts. You don't have to worry. I know the right people to bring to these events. And I think that you guys, you should keep things like that in mind. Make sure that you're bringing people that know how to respect and honor the whole process, period. Okay, let's do something fun. Let's brainstorm. Like, let's say I wanted to do, I'm just going to stereotype myself and say like a Barbie themed birthday supper club. What would we do? What would be like the game plan for something like that? And I want it to be like girly and fresh and healthy, but like also maybe end with something sweet and savory and like super like sexy.
Oh, I love this. You're putting me on the spot here. Because I've seen a lot of Barbie inspired parties, and most of them are just like, let's just put pink frosting on everything. I'm like, that's no. One of the things that I absolutely love is, have you ever had like butterfly pea tips? The ones like that tea that changes from like purple to pink when you like put different acidity into it.
Like, wait, like butterfly pea?
Yeah. So not actually like butterfly pea, like pea tips, but they're called like the butterfly variant because it's purple.
No, what is that? Like, explain the whole. Cool. What is it?
It's basically like the leaves from the butterfly, like specifically the pea tips.
Okay.
And like pea tendrils. And when you roast them.
What is pea?
What type of pea are you asking about?
What pea is this? Like, I don't want to be peed on at the Barbie party. No, maybe I do. Who knows?
Who knows? That's the after party. But like peas, I guess, like peas and carrots. Like your little like
pea.
green peas.
Okay, you're saying pea plural, but like without the S. Okay, got it. Okay. Oh my God. A butterfly pea.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's a really beautiful thing that actually changes from purple to pink.
Wow.
And it's a natural coloration, and acidity changes it to pink.
Okay.
So you've been seeing it at a lot of tea shops, and what we've been developing actually is a crudo that uses like yuzu juice, a little bit of that pea tip, and it's rendered in. So when you originally get it, it's purple, but then you have beautiful scallops that are on there from Hokkaido.
Oh.
So there's really clean, sweet, delicious.
Yeah.
You finish it with some lime juice, and when you do it, it changes pink.
Oh my God.
Which I think would be an amazing amuse or first course for you on something like this.
That would be the first course for sure. I'm down with the butterfly pea.
Not pea, but butterfly tea.
Wait, the butterfly pea tips. Just the tips, people.
Yes,
Keep it clean.
Just the tip. I'm thinking like some sort of nice hearty, like some sort of carb-based dish, but healthy.
Okay.
We'll make some pasta from scratch with some really, really good flour, but the sauce has to be some sort of pink sauce, right? To kind of fit with that Barbie theme.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you get some sort of like Korebuta pork belly or some Iberico pork, which is super healthy. It's farm raised.
Okay.
Maybe we can get some Iberico pork shredded on there, pink sauce. So you've got like heirloom cherry tomatoes. You've got a little bit of whipped cream in there, but like the good cream. And we'll mix it in this beautiful pasta. I think like some fusilli would be nice. Some spicy notes on there. Some Iberico pork. So healthy, creamy, acidic. You've got all that balanced out for an entree.
Wait, really quick. What's that one rap song with the butterfly doors? Oh, stunting is a habit. Get like Jasper. Oh my God, you guys.
Michelle, you're the ultimate hype woman. I love it.
Oh my God, I'm going to literally post this clip with that song in the background.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Okay, keep going. I'm loving this. What about beets?
Beets?
Like for the
beets.
sauce.
I love beets. So I was actually going to get to that for a fish dish.
Okay. Oh.
Believe it or not.
Oh.
So I love combining golden beets and red beets together because they're super healthy. Antioxidant levels are high. Imagine roasting them, then throwing them into a wrapped parchment paper. And then we have like a nice piece of like cod fillet, like a local black cod.
Yeah.
So not your black cod that you get over at like, Nobu and stuff. That stuff is over farmed. Not so great for you because it's all fatty now, and a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff that's been added to it. So local black cod though is a little skinnier but just as flaky, and you put that in with, for example, the golden beets, a little bit of shallots, garlic, but imagine some sort of like crispy oil that we can like fry on top of the skin after you open the parchment. But because the beet is on the bottom, the natural sweetness will soak into the white part of the fish. You get this almost like pink colored broth on the bottom.
Wow.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Very tasty.
Oh my God. Ladies, are we into this or are we into this? This is so hot. I love it. It's so, and it like, I can visualize it. It feels so like beautiful. Like you can just see the colors and the textures and I can like smell it. Oh my God.
I can't smell that. That'd be nice. Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
And then of course we have to finish something delicious for dessert. I have a huge sweet tooth.
Okay, me too.
So I'm glad. Okay, good to know for next time.
Yeah.
So I would recommend, one of the first things I learned making dessert on was actually a souffle.
Ooh.
And I love souffles.
Okay.
Just being able to make something puff and rise a little bit. I don't like making them per se, but I love eating them. I can make it just for your dinner though.
Shout out to Cardi B. Because she has a lyric about
Souffles?
Yes.
Oh no shit.
But it's
What
like
song? You know?
it's not about food though. Yeah.
Got it. So duly noted, Rochelle.
So for our second clip, I'll have that song playing in the background while Jasper's talking about this. Okay.
Amazing. I love it. So we'll get a nice pink souffle for you.
Yes.
And then we'll carve it right down the middle and fill it with cream.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Sweet, but I'm thinking like farmer's market strawberries. You know, like something from Sherry's or something like that, where it's just sweet, decadent. We'll put a little acidity into the souffle itself. So I'd have to figure out whether or not we want to put like fresh lime juice or maybe some sort of passion fruit. I think would be a nice touch. But that'll kind of round out like a tasting menu.
Can I also have cake?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
What type of cake?
Oh shit. I mean, I know I said no to the frosting, but like I feel like cream cheese frosting is always amazing. Something like in that lane, but like as far as cake, not angel. Like thick. Like almost like can we do a healthy pound cake or like I don't know, something thick and like just nasty.
Thick and nasty. Yeah. I mean, that's what my pastry team specializes in. So I'm sure Chef Elliot or Chef Juan could come up with something.
Yeah.
But grabbing like, I would think something like a pound cake meets like almost like a croissant like base. Right, it's got flaky layers on there.
Oh my god, like a faux nut or a cronut, and but like minis or something.
And then we drizzle it almost like a red velvet, but we make it pink to match that Barbie theme that you're talking about. I think that'd be pretty epic.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. We're gonna do this party. What is the game plan for Rosalynn? What's the next party, or like what's happening with y'all?
Well, Rosalynn's going through a lot of changes right now. You know, we've been a supper club now for 3.5 years, doing private dining in my home. In April, we're actually working with our friends over at Hexclad. So that's the Gordon Ramsay pan company. We love them to death, and they love us back. And so they actually have a new space in the Arts District that's actually only 5 blocks away from where we do it now. Okay. We plan on taking over that space Friday, Saturday nights to do a full restaurant pop-up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So what does that mean? Like a pop-up, like anyone can come or what?
It breaks the norm of having an invitation-only situation, but we are able to then welcome more guests. So right now we can only set up to 20 people a night. In this new space, we'd be able to do 40. That's a big difference for us, and that allows us to actually properly staff our team and work on menu items just as creative as like what we talked about. But we've got all that happening, and that's super exciting. Okay, cool. We also are working on Rosalynn Media, which is how I think the conversation came up about your podcast. Is we have a podcast.
Yes, I know. Oh my God. Yes, and I want to come on.
We would love to have you on the show. Okay. I've had the blessing through food to meet people from all walks of life. And one of the things that has always been a constant conversation is, what does it take to take that leap of faith where you go, hey, I am comfortable, or maybe even if you're not comfortable where you are, but you're just getting by. So what will it take for you to say, I'm going to jump into something that I'm passionate about and really just go against the grain? And so we created a podcast called The Durian Pod. And my co-founder, David Pham, who's our beverage director, who does all the vibes at Rosalynn. Yes. And our friend Heidi Yu, who runs Rooted Fare. And so that is a CPG company that does black sesame crunchy butter. You can find it everywhere. It's delicious. I'll have to send you some. It's so good. Oh my God. But we came onto this project by fate. You know, it was mid-May of last year. I was reached out by a couple people over at YouTube to say like, hey, do you want to work on a show potentially? I told them no, I'm just not, I don't have the time or the bandwidth. But then like, think about a podcast. That sizzled out, but then I got a unit, like a Rodecaster, very much similar to the Switch that you have. And David walked into my bedroom and he was like, hey, why do you have a Rodecaster? And I'm like, well, I have one because I want to do a podcast, but I haven't really thought about the structure aside from I would love to invite people who have been to our supper club to come on the show to inspire others. Yeah. And he's like, you have no idea. I've been actually trying to work on this for months now about the exact same thing. And so that kind of manifested into this whole animal, which is the Durian Pod. Yeah. And we invite guests over to eat food, talk about where they were and like how their upbringing affected them, what we see as attainable success, which is, for example, like our friends like Adele Lim, who's the director producer over at Crazy Rich Asians and did Joyride, our friend Super Sam, who literally brought the Bay Area R&B vibes here to LA through 143. And so people like that come on the show, they talk about it, we feed them. And then we hope that we can inspire others to take that leap of faith also. Yes.
Amen. I mean, even I'm running up this podcast and I'm doing great, but like the second you walked in, I was like, I need to figure out how to like get rid of my other job. Straight up. Like it's so terrifying. It is, but it's like you just have to like believe. But we all need that inspiration. I mean, I swear to God, every single person, and I'm sure you have the same experience, but like everyone needs that inspiration, like especially living in LA, the pressure that we are under to overperform and overachieve, and like there's so many talented people out here doing exactly what we're doing. So it's kind of like, you know, you have days where you're like I need someone to tell me to keep going. I need someone to tell me that it's worth it. And I swear to God, it's like the more I do this, the more I'm like, we literally are changing lives. We're changing the world. We're changing society. We're changing show business. Like we're just making this shit healthier for people. Like I've always said since the beginning, like how, like as a performer, like how can I be a performer in such a dark, evil industry and have it be fun and healthy and uplifting? And this, I swear to God, like the podcast world is doing that for us and for anyone that we bring into it. It's like, it really is so magical.
Yeah, I absolutely love that you are doing this as well, because when you came with the Supper Club, we started talking about it and you mentioned your podcast. I love that you're just bringing such a variety of people on the show.
Yeah.
You mentioned all these comedians as well, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love comedy. But to really just see, like, we have a platform now. You know, technology's allowed us to be able to have this opportunity at a much lower cost than it used to be.
Yes.
Right? Imagine trying to open a podcast like 10 years ago. It's just not possible.
Insane.
Syndicating alone would have been ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? But now we're able to use all this equipment and really use the platform, like you said, right? You are in a industry that is tainted, you know, but the chef world's just the same way. If you dive really deep into culinary, you see the sexual abuse, the physical abuse that chefs go through. It's just very not much so the environment that I like to be involved in.
Yeah.
And I think it's really nice to be able to walk in as an outside person, looking in, going, I see what's wrong with the restaurant industry. I'd like to go ahead and change that. So we bring a lot of like the tech world and the benefits that come in. So for example, family meal isn't just leftovers from, you know, the night before or just leftover pasta. Like, we'll order different catering from different restaurants to support local restaurants.
Wow.
And that's a way for our team to be able to try different food and different flavors that we're trying to play with, right? And even like, for example, when we go on trips together, like, we always try to take care of our staff and team. That's unheard of when it comes to culinary. So like, to hear that you're willing to take this podcast as your next leap of faith, I'm all like a champion for that. It's about surrounding yourself with those people that believe in it.
Yes.
And if there's anything that I've learned in the last 3.5 years, put your head down, just keep grinding. You're going to attract that correct energy. You won't even have to ask for help. People are going to come to you.
Yes. And it is happening. And I'm just covered in chills right now. Like, I'm going to literally start crying, but I want to share something super deep with you. I mean, I've always been super public about it, but I just feel like, because we're on this topic, let's just talk about it, because I feel like mental health is like such a huge issue around the world. We're like, we don't even know how much longer we have on planet Earth, right? Like, it's such a weird, scary time. There's war everywhere. But for me personally, my mom was super powerful. She changed lives. She inspired so many people, and we lost her to suicide in 2009. And it, to the point where I have 2 younger brothers, and I have tried to salvage my relationship with them. And it has affected our family so deeply that we just can't even talk to one another at this point. Because it's just like, you would think that it would get better throughout the years, but it's just taken such a huge toll on all of us that we don't even talk anymore, including my father. So this is my chosen family. Like, these people that are coming into my life, it is my chosen family, and they are forever friends that are literally helping me survive something that's just like unimaginable, you know? Like, some days I'm just like, did that really happen? Like, is it real? You know, so I can't express enough like how much this has helped me survive, like, just to live another day, you know? And I'm saying it like that because I know how many of you guys are out there dealing with depression and on medication, and like, so many people are in therapy. Everyone should be in therapy, especially white men.
I think everyone everyone should be in therapy.
Yeah, but for different reasons.
Yes.
So I just want to bring that up because I'm sure, like, you and all of your whole staff, you guys probably have hard days.
All the time.
Does that ring true for you guys? Has it helped you guys get through tough shit like that?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I'm sorry for your loss.
Okay.
That's incredibly painful. You know, I've lost friends to suicide as well, or people who have tried to take their lives. And I think it also just goes to show how short life can be.
Yes.
You know, and it's very much so the Robin Williams effect, right? The people that are the brightest are the ones who are, you don't expect, and kind of just happens. So I can't even imagine how that makes, you know, split up your family and how difficult that has been. Sorry to hear. I will say that one of my biggest ethos that I learned is I've gone through 3 crises in my life where I probably shouldn't be here.
Wow.
One of them happens to be this like giant scar that's on my hand here. Not a public story I really talk about, but essentially right before COVID, I got asked to go to a trade show in Orlando, Florida. And at that time, it was a red-eye flight, slept at the Embassy Suites, and I woke up with a giant bulge here. And didn't know why. It started pussing. The long story short is I got bit by a spider. It was a brown recluse. And got poisoned by it. But I also had a bit of its fang stuck in there.
What?
It had broken off in there.
Oh my God.
I know. And I just couldn't understand why I got sicker and sicker and sicker. So this was the day before the pandemic shut down. And I know it's a lot. It gives me chills talking about it still. Little jitters, but it was the day before the pandemic shut down here in LA. And went to go find someone in my network that I could go get coverage. Found Dr. Billings. Shout out to her because she saved my life.
Wow.
But her office was completely booked that day because it was the day before shutdown. Waited there literally from 8 a.m. till like 7. And she was like, hey, I heard you've been waiting for me. He looked at it immediately. She says, we need to operate. I went in the next morning. It was the most eerie thing. Imagine an entire hospital with no one there except her and a nurse and maybe someone in the other side of the glass I couldn't see. They put me under, found a little piece, and they found out that I had been infected with a microbacteria similar to tuberculosis, but they had never seen that strain before.
What?
So I was put on insane medication, rifampicin and a couple others, turned orange for a little bit. It was great. But thankfully, it was during COVID, so no one really saw me sweat orange or pee orange.
You got a free spray tan? That's amazing.
I know, right? I like that. It was a free spray tan. I like that. That makes the story a little better. But it was one of 3 incidents in my life where, I shouldn't be here. If it was not because of modern medicine, if I hadn't gone to Dr. Billings, she told me that I had 2 or 3 days left, I would have just died.
Ugh.
That really enforced the tech mentality of the question of why not, right? When it comes to relationships, right? Like, why not be more forward about what you do? When it comes to food, why not go against the grain? And just because a recipe's been done a particular way, why not just change it? Why not put, for example, soy sauce and 5 spice and star anise into confit? I get a lot of shit for it, but then when they taste it, they go, that's great, right? That's really different. Wow. Or even like our chimichurri sauce, hey, like that's coming into CPG now, right? And the question was, why not make chimichurri non-traditional? It's always parsley, red wine vinegar, garlic. Why not put like Chinese flavors like cilantro, scallions, Sichuan peppercorns into it, right? And the same thing with your story and like basically taking what you know and now doing this podcast. The question is, why not do it, right? And you've been doing this now for 36, now 37th episode, right? And you keep pushing for it because why not? If one person hears a reason to keep pushing forward, and like you said, you find these people around you who become your chosen family, then it's all worth it. It's absolutely worth it. And you need to keep pushing.
And the crazy thing about the universe is the more we surrender and the more playful we are. And like, it's just that joy. It's being in the vortex. That's when the universe is like, you are now ready to receive.
Yes.
Which is so fucked up. Like, fuck you guys up there for controlling it like that, because I feel like sometimes they make us wait way too long for great moments. But it's true. It's like there's so many sayings about this, like just being in the darkness, like getting your heart broken. Those cracks allow for more light to come in. Like I love that one.
I like that one a lot too.
Yeah. But for me, I think, I wanted to take a step away from the music industry because it's so gross. And this has given me so much joy. And I'm like, hey, guess what? This is going to heal you to the point where you can then take baby steps back into music in a different way. And it's just going to feel, we're just like creating our own little bubbles, our own little worlds of joy, and it spreads out to other people. But that is crazy. I'm so glad you didn't die.
I am too. I just
oh my God.
It definitely pushed me to go, life is incredibly short.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that incident, I had someone pass away through suicide. And so went to their funeral and I'm like, man, this must be the universe telling me like life is short. You need to make some changes.
Yes.
It took me though, I will admit, over 1.5 years though, before fully committing to Rosalynn. I was playing around with it. I wasn't sure if I wanted to actually be a chef because I'm not classically trained. I didn't go to culinary school, but it felt right.
Yeah.
And, kind of to touch on what you were saying earlier is like, it's not always like butterflies and rainbows.
No.
Like the service industry is incredibly hard. Taking the leap of faith is hard. The conversation that a lot of people always ask me is like, how do you do it? Everything looks so great. And it's like, Instagram portrays one side. Right. The real story is it's been 3 years of very hard labor. It's 14, 16-hour days. It's trying to balance out, or at the time, my old tech job and literally taking Teams calls while chopping up, every prep item that I needed on the board. And I had to mute it constantly just to get it done.
Yeah.
But it gets to a point where you realize like, hey, I can stop my regular job to do this full time. And I've seen it happen with our entire team that I'm so proud of. Like, for example, David, he's an oncology pharmacist by day. Wow. He does our beverage team.
Oh yeah,
stuff
that's
by
right.
night.
I remember that.
Right. Our one of our top bartenders, Victoria, she's a dentist by day. She's a bartender. Yeah. Denise and David, like David used to work, David Phillip used to work at Gucci as a salesperson when I first met him.
Wow.
Home cook. Now he's literally one of the best chefs at John and Vinny's Beverly Hills. Denise is just killing it in the game too, right? So I get to see that duality. Yeah. And I challenge you to just keep pushing that duality until it feels like you can really go on one side of that. Yeah. Because then you come as that outsider looking in now. Like you said, you're not the person in the music industry who's being covered and tormented by how the structure is. Yeah. You're coming back in as the force of Rochelle saying, I know where I fit in all of this. Yeah. So I love that for you.
Yeah. And I love that you said outsider looking in, because I feel like, I don't know why all these comedians are like in my realm right now, but I definitely am an outsider looking into their world. And it's just lovely, like not being fully in it. Like it's so nice being on the outside. I wanted to ask you, speaking of Instagram versus real life, because like everyone needs to see my apartment before my guests come over. Do you have a hard time keeping your place clean, and how are you with laundry? Because I'm really bad. And will you do mine? Because I don't want to do it.
So laundry is my big pet peeve. So I would not be the person for that. I will do it because I like my place clean. Okay. But our team rotates through that. So everyone takes shared responsibility, and understanding that like your restaurant or your home, or for example, our pop-up space is also my home. So being able to get back to some sort of semblance of sanity is what I like to call it, is so important. So we will stay that extra time. So after you guys left, I think it was like 10:30, we're there for another hour and a half, cleaning, doing laundry, making sure the plates are down, making every surface is, cleaned up. We put Clorox so it's nice and like bleached. Yeah. And it even comes to little details like fluffing the pillows again, so that when I walk out in the morning, it doesn't look like a shit show. Yeah. Right. And so I think it's so important to spend that extra minute or two, even if you hate doing that. But again, this goes back to the umbrella rule, right? Like we need to get to the point, and that's what we've done now here at Rosalynn, where I don't have to necessarily do laundry every single day. Yeah. Right. We have people that will come in for that to help us out with that, because I hate doing laundry. Yeah. Right. So then I can focus my time, even if it is another hour or two, that I can focus on something that I love. For example, talking to people about like stuff like this. Yes. Making new menu items. Yeah. Right. It's stuff that's possible, because then you have to think about opportunity costs. Yeah. Right. And that's something that was always hammered into my head in finance and in tech. And so if you do the same thing for yourself, you can absolutely then get out of it. But I think you've done a great job cleaning up this place. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, are there any like young hot boys that want to come over and clean my place and do my laundry? Let me know. Yeah, shout out to them. You can find her really easily on Instagram. But yes, you should have them. Yeah. Pull a John Cena.
Right? You can add it to your resume. I interned for a hit podcast show, Sorry, I was just thinking about
young hot boys folding your
doing
clothes.
Shit for me. My love language is acts of service. Definitely. Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Do you sage, or like how do you clear out energy in your place? Because I'm like really big on that. If I have, like, I love everybody, right? But like if, let's say I have someone come over here and they're like talking about ghosts or like dead spirits like haunting their house or some shit, or demons or some shit. Like, do you cleanse your place? Like, where are you like spiritually with shit like that?
I'm not huge spiritually, but I do sage my place.
Oh, really?
And I do believe in feng shui.
Okay, good.
Very much so. My mom was the one who instilled that into me. Okay. And one of the first things that I have in my unit, and you might notice this, is because it's a first floor unit, you're able to kind of have a door that goes straight in, but there's also a hallway that goes into my building. Yeah. And it's like an L shape. And specifically at that L shape, I have a giant saltwater aquarium. Oh. And one of the things that I was told by my mom's feng shui person is having that there is a way to absorb the negative energy that comes into your life, and fish will actually die or sacrifice themselves because of that. And if something bad happened to them, it didn't happen to you. And I've had more than one or twice, I'd say 3 or 4 incidences where I'm like, this is too much of a coincidence. This has to be true. And so that's when I got a little bit more into that spirituality.
Oh my God, just all the fish are dying every time you have people over. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was more relationship related stuff. Like anything bad that happened to me in a relationship, be it like, some sort of outburst or some terrible things happen. But anyway, so I would have like my favorite fish, like it would jump out and it landed in my ex-girlfriend's like purse. Like what were the chances of that even happening? And that night she had gotten like drunk and like just was belligerent and just like, holy crap, I had no idea that would happen. But
oh my God.
Yeah. But after having a group of really, really bad guests, and that has happened, it's very rare. People are usually there for a good time. I want to caveat everything I said about the Supper Club where like 99.9% of people that come through, I fuck with their vibes. Like they're good people. They're just having a great time. It feels eclectic. And I love that. But there is that 0.01%. And the next morning, like our team can feel it. I can feel it. Wow. The sage comes out. The windows get completely opened. And you can feel the draft of breeze coming through the space. And that's something that I love about that space.
Yes.
Need to.
I love to hear a man talk about this shit because I don't know if you know who Matt Rife is, but
I do.
Yeah, he got canceled for just shunning like crystals and sage and like, oh, women are so stupid for believing in that shit. And it's like, no, guys, it's science. Everything is energy, period. And salt is such a great witchy ingredient, you guys, to absorb negative energy for sure.
That's why I have a saltwater tank.
See? I love that. Yeah. I think men need to get in touch with their feminine side more, like their divine feminine side. And like just, I wish that men were more in touch with this type of stuff because I feel like it is true. And I feel like men are so programmed to be like, that's gay.
I will give Matt Rife this credit. I've never met the guy. I just know that the majority of comedians, their job is to be polarizing, right? And whether or not he actually believes that, I'm not sure, right? Because I don't know him. But I do know that he's creating a conversation about that topic. And I think it's important, like you said, for everyone to be open about that feminine side and to kind of respect everyone's wishes in that sense. Because it's not bothering anyone to have crystals. I don't have any myself. Yeah. But I do like see why people will gravitate towards that. Yeah. Right.
It's the same concept for anyone that doesn't know. Salt, a crystal will absorb whatever it needs to absorb. And sometimes they are known to disappear when their job is done, which is really dope.
Sounds like I need a giant one in my house every once in a while just to absorb everything.
I swear to God, I used to have a huge clear crystal quartz selenite stick and it effing disappeared. I swear to God, like can't find it anywhere. It's probably in here somewhere, but it's been like years. Like this.
Oh, that's a good size.
I know. It is a good size.
That's average, right?
Sorry. I'm all about the boyfriend dick. Like, don't come at me with a big dick, you guys, please. I'm not into that.
Only if you fold their clothes.
With what?
Only if they fold your clothes, though, then it doesn't matter.
Oh, right? Well, no, still, I can't. No, if it's too big, get out. I can't deal with that. Let's both do manifestations about what we want for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I can start.
Yeah, please.
I'll start. Yeah. I'm the woman. This is more of like a female thing to do. We love manifesting shit. Do you have a vision board, by the way?
I don't have a vision board, but I do have, on the more businessy side, like a five-year business.
Oh, right.
And everything is very much drawn out to exactly what I expect us to kind of reach goals for us as in my team and also for myself.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to hear about that because that basically is the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't even done my vision board yet, but all of my girlfriends and we always talk about how we want to do one because it sounds so fun. But we need to visualize and almost like looking at photos or words or just whatever it is that you want, looking at it helps manifest these things into your life because this is also science, people. Matt Rife, shut the fuck up. It's real. It works. So anyway, what I would like to manifest is definitely money. I want the money to come from a place of joy and love. And I want this podcast to generate dough, baby. And I want the Patreon to be a beautiful, safe space for our patrons, our subscribers to go on there and get the exclusive content that they want and need and have it feel like their own little personalized family. And I want all of my idols like Whitney Cummings and Ariana Grande, like I want all of you girls on the show. I want that. And if I do become a millionaire, that money will be used to grow the not all female, but like mostly female production team. So that then we can do, I mean, everything under the sun, movies, TV shows, music tours. I want to do a podcast tour where I invite guests on in every city, whether they're a rapper or a singer or a comedian or a chef, and just be able to tell these stories in front of a live audience. So yeah, I don't know if that's for 2024, but that's like, you know, what I want.
Yeah, it's on the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love that. The Rochelle Entertainment Empire is coming soon.
Yes.
We love that energy.
Thank you.
Believe it or not, I'm a huge believer in manifestation.
Yeah.
I always have to think back and see about my career path and where I've been. And all of it started in tech because I manifested that as a kid. I loved building computers as a kid.
Yeah.
Love being around computers. I remember waiting in line for the first iPhone with my dad. You know, the whole shenanigan there, right? And so that was a manifestation. Then, of course, this cooking thing happened, and everyone always asked me, like, how'd you do it in like 3 years? Because at this point, I can go tit for tat with most of the chefs here in LA and other cities. You know, we've done road tours, even in San Francisco and Paso Robles, and we're cooking one for one. And I didn't go to culinary school, right? And that is manifestation, right?
Yes.
You put your head down and you really go, I love this and I want to keep pushing for it, but how do I make money on it? How do I survive? And that has really been my focus over the last, I'd say 6 months, is shifting from true passion to building a business model that can sustain. So you should be able to make money while you're sleeping. The podcast is a great example of that, right? You hit a specific number, they're going to be paying, people are going to be watching. Yeah. You're going to get your ad clicks, right? Your sponsorships come rolling in. Yeah. So my focus for 2024, 2025 right now is really just growing Rosalynn and my own brand outside of what it is in this realm. We call it the 4 doors of my home, right? To, again, have that media company, right? And share the word of taking the leap of faith, loving what you do, and pushing other people to do that. Yeah. I also am just so excited for my team because they've been working so hard. Like I'm so much a team first person that this is a manifestation for all of them. We're all about to walk into our first restaurant pop-up in this situation where we have partners like Hexclad. We have partners like Thor Kitchen and Graza and Campo Grande, like all these brands that have gone for us. Yeah. And they do that because they see the love of what we do and it translates to everyone that we serve to. So I really can't wait to see what happens with that because the pop-up obviously is going to lead to a restaurant, maybe 2 or 3. And I'd be happy to be bi-coastal if that was an option. Yeah. But I am here to also manifest that with you is let's make money together. Like we should grow and see that because money shouldn't always be the first priority, in my opinion. I think everything comes through like things that you love. Right. And when other people see that, the money will flow. Yes. So I'm here for all of it. Okay. So we're just gonna be millionaires. That'd be nice. That would be really nice. I can't wait for that day. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I want to be a happy millionaire though. I feel like everyone that's a millionaire is like miserable. I definitely know some millionaires that are very happy. Okay. And a lot of it goes back to that same rule we keep talking about. Is they're doing the parts that they love. They have enough money to have other people do things that they don't. Yeah. And I think that should be the goal for our manifestation. Yes. Right? Yes, absolutely. 1,000%. So tell the people where they can find you on the interwebs. Absolutely. Tell the ladies. They're watching. The ladies, yes. So you can find us at Rosalynn Supper Club. It's spelled ROSALYNN. Supper Club and that, or rosalynn.co. You can always reach out to Rochelle also and say you just want to eat some bomb food. And you can find me personally on Instagram, Jasper HLYNN, and that's the best way to reach me. But we'd love to have y'all come eat some great food. Oh, I forgot. What's the dating situation? Oh, let's talk about it. Yeah. Oh, that's like the biggest conversation. I know. We're ending with a bang, people. So This was inspired. She's talking about the Rosalynn Dating Club. And this is something that we came up with because I see how food brings people together. We have a slogan at Rosalynn: good food brings greater people together. And we had a blessing where this was last year. A friend of mine named Janet, she met her now husband at Rosalynn during cocktail hour. And it's very much so by chance. And they end up getting married.
Aww.
And it really inspired me to go, what can we do more for the dating community? Because like you said, in LA, it's really hard out here. Like dating is hard, you know?
It's so hard.
So being able to find someone that you get along with is something that is hard, number one. But number two is you have to have that vibe. And what Rosalynn has created is it's a 3 to 4 hour dining experience.
Yeah.
Where you come in for cocktails, you're there, you're sitting, you're enjoying, etc. And I saw the way that they were vibing, and I was like, oh my God, could be something. So this was February, we did the Rosalynn Dating Club, which is a 12-on-12 speed dating with 12 courses. We have a matchmaker as well as AI. So I'm using a little of that tech background that I had. We built a custom GPT module that can actually matchmake people. We did our first ever experiment on it, and it was 2 nights in a row, sold out for both nights, where we had 24 and 26 people on both nights, and basically got to see people date over food.
Yeah.
And the cool part about it is we got to see a lot of people really just vibing because they're there for a common reason, right? Even if the dates don't go well, you know the food's going to be good.
Yeah.
Right? But what I loved about it is both nights, Thursday and Friday, you saw people holding hands. You saw people exchanging numbers. We had people that were like new friends. And I remember Friday night was just a huge night for us because at the end of it, there were 2 groups. One whole group of, I think, 9 or 10 people all were like, let's go to K-Town together. And none of them knew each other. And the other 10 or 11 went to Arts District. And that's where I joined them because I was a lot closer and got to see like, oh my God, like these people are vibing and have a great time. At the bare minimum, we met some new friends. And, we can't wait for version 2, where we've learned from the mistakes, gotten a lot of feedback from it. We actually potentially even have a TV show on the way because the whole thing was filmed.
Wow.
Which is crazy.
Hell yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. But Rosalynn Dating is something I think that is really going to change the game when it comes to the dating scene here in LA. And we hope to bring that to cities all around. What I loved about the dating club and why we're going to continue doing this is the matchmaking profile actually will take your likes and dislikes. It's a 24 question questionnaire. And it'll actually use that to put you in the same room with people.
Yeah.
So of course there's going to be a bad egg or two. That's going to happen regardless. But if say 90% of those people you get along with, I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Okay, you guys, we love you so much, and I hope that you love this episode. I know everyone's going to just adore you and just put this episode on repeat. And I feel like, can I make, like, whenever you call me, can I make it just your voice talking about food?
Sure.
Like a Jasper ringtone?
No problem. Just tell me what dish you want me to voice out, and I'll go ahead and do so.
Oh my God. I would say that I would use that to help me go to sleep, but I wouldn't be able to sleep.
It'd be too exciting, I think. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, okay, go follow Jasper and Rosalynn and sign up and do all of the things, you guys. We love you, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye, guys.